Hi, welcome back to our channel, Two Brothers Opinions. My name is Barry, this is my brother Mark.
Yeah, I thought we would, because it's in the news right now, I thought we would hit the one big, beautiful bill.
Okay.
But I, with a focus mostly, I think, on the Medicaid part, because everybody's yelling and screaming about Medicaid.
And SNAP. There's a thing
Yeah,
about
yeah,
SNAP,
SNAP,
too.
Medicaid, and that, people are if you listen to the Democrats, everyone's going to die because, because of these cuts. And, the world's going to end. So
It's not?
so there's some facts and some truths that I think people need to hear.
Absolutely.
I would assume that most of the people that are going to watch this are probably going to understand these. It seems to be that people are maybe more conservative or that are watching this.
Or maybe not.
Maybe, but we're not getting a lot of feedback on stuff like this from like far left morons. So
No. No.
But I would like some far left morons to
Sure.
to comment. But
Absolutely.
we want to give some facts. So
Would you like to go first?
I printed out a couple things.
Okay.
All right. So there's a couple things. I guess the first thing I'll say is, why is Medicaid like so bloated? Why is it going bankrupt and all that stuff? Well, because Obamacare put everybody on Medicaid without really much information needed. It was just everybody goes on Medicaid, whether you're disabled, abled, whether you're able to go to work, not able, whatever. So a lot of this goes back to Obamacare, which back then, when it was passed, there were a lot of conservatives that were saying this is going to bankrupt our healthcare system. And of course, the Democrats, because it was a Democrat, were like, "Oh no!" Well, and now all of a sudden, it is.
Yeah. And didn't Nancy Pelosi say to pass it and then read the bill?
Yeah, she said we have to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
So
I know, right?
I guess you sign every paper. Like
Yeah.
when you go for mortgage, anybody here had a mortgage? You got to sign your name a million times.
Yeah.
But don't read anything.
And don't know what your interest rate is.
Just sign everything.
Right.
And then at the end, we'll go back and read it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll go back and read it.
Yeah.
That's intelligent.
Yeah, and so I think one of the biggest things is that, everybody keeps saying that the big beautiful bill is going to cut spending. It's going to cut people out. No, it doesn't. It just slows the rate of growth. So in simple numbers, if it was growing at 20% a year, it may be only growing at 13% a year. So the people that are eligible for Medicaid are still going to have it.
Correct.
Right. But these are some facts. And this came right from the Congressional Budget Office. So
It's not left, not right.
right. Now, anybody who pays attention would say the Congressional Budget Office is all Democrats. And they're all liberals because that office was started by Democrats. Yep. So they all lean way left. And most of the time, their estimates, their projections are off. But still, they give projections and people in Congress make decisions based on those projections. So here's stuff that comes right off of their website. 4.8 million of people estimated to be without health insurance in 2034 are able-bodied adults without dependents who choose not to meet any work requirement or community engagement requirements, which is volunteering and stuff. So 4.8 million of those.
You just don't want to do
Right.
nothing.
And according to the CBO, over 80% of Americans support Medicaid work requirements. And at the end of this, I'll get back to that and show you something. So the bill requires Medicaid recipients to work, volunteer, get some sort of education, or participate in a work program for an average of 20 hours a week. You're talking like
20 hours is
4
nothing.
hours a day for 5 days. That's not a lot of work for people who actually go and work. So 1.6 million Americans estimated to be without health insurance in 2034 will have access to other forms of subsidized health insurance, including the option to stay on Medicaid. So when the Democrats are like, everybody's getting kicked off. Well, not if you actually qualify for it. And Medicaid is a federal-state partnership. So states are responsible for managing the program and sharing the cost.
Mm-hmm.
States' decisions on management of their own Medicaid programs is not a federal policy. It's the state, it's a federal policy, but the states basically run it. So, but it says not federal policy, right, would be responsible for 2 million Americans estimated to be without health insurance. So it's state policy that would have 2 million Americans lose health insurance, not the federal policy. Federal policy, as I just said earlier, you can stay on it if you qualify. So
Correct. Almost like Husky in Connecticut.
Yeah.
They have Husky,
Yep.
and there's different programs in there.
Yep.
And you have to meet the requirements
Yep.
of your yearly your yearly income.
Yep.
So if you fall below that, you don't pay.
Right.
But if there is another program that if you're above, but it's still within their guidelines, you do have to pay for a certain percentage of it.
Right. But you can get it.
But you could get it.
Right.
It might not be the best.
Right.
But you could still have coverage.
Yeah. But that's where some people would go, well, why am I going to work and I have to pay a little bit? I'll just sit home and do nothing and let the state pay for the whole thing.
And that's what happened.
And this is what happened. And this is why it's bloated and going out of money. So this one big beautiful bill saves about $13.1 billion in Medicaid costs, which frees up resources where they can invest it into like further help Americans, vulnerable Americans. So you're going to free up money by cutting costs and cutting fraud, waste, and abuse,
Yeah,
and give it to the people. Yeah, $13.1 billion. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So 1.4 million of those estimated to be without health insurance in 2034 are illegal immigrants.
Illegal.
So they shouldn't be getting it at all. But because of Obamacare, you walk across the border, they hand it out like candy.
Yep.
So 1.3 million of those estimated to be without health insurance in 2034 are already ineligible for the Medicaid program. So they already have it, but they're ineligible. Unbelievable. So, the last piece of this rant is we talked about working 20 hours a week or volunteering 20 hours a week or going to school 20 hours a week, whatever. So back in, I believe it was when Bill Clinton was president.
Okay.
There was a bill passed that the Democrats were all behind. Right? They were like, he's our guy, he's a Democrat, we're going to vote yes for no matter what he does. So this bill says recipients must work after 2 years on assistance with a few exceptions. 25% of all families in each state must be engaged in work activities, rising to 50% in fiscal year 2002. Single parents must participate for at least 20 hours per week in the first year, increasing that to at least 30 hours a week by fiscal year 2000. Two-parent families must work 35 hours per week by July 1st, 1997.
And that's Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton and the Democrats passed that.
Definitely a Republican, correct?
Oh, yeah. No, he was like all the other Democrat presidents having sex in the Oval Office.
So I have a couple things too here that I dug up.
But the hypocrisy of the Democrats is unbelievable.
Oh yeah. There's myths and facts about the big beautiful bill. Myth: SNAP work requirements are unnecessary. And it says only 28% of able-bodied adults on SNAP work. The one big beautiful bill promotes work responsibility and restores SNAP to serve the truly needy.
Right.
SNAP enrollments remain high even in a strong economy, including millions of able-bodied adults who could work. In fact, almost 3/4 of able-bodied adults without dependence on SNAP have no earned income. The mission of the program has failed. SNAP was intended to be temporary help for those who encounter tough times. We are strengthening the program to serve those who need it the most.
Right.
So they're not cutting the program.
No, and then by cutting the people like illegals, people who don't qualify. If you get them out, there's more money to help the people who need it.
Correct.
And usually those are Americans.
And another myth. Democrats are saying illegal aliens don't get federal benefits. Illegal, and here's the fact, illegals burden taxpayers, us, with billions in costs for free health care and welfare benefits. The One Big Beautiful Bill ends Medicaid and SNAP fraud and ensures these programs serve only eligible Americans. And I see nothing wrong with that.
No. And when they came across the border, they were giving them phones. They were giving them social security numbers.
Yes.
And you need that in order to collect benefits.
I don't know. I mean, there's so much we could go down the rabbit hole on this, and I could just keep reading and reading and reading and reading all the myths and the facts. One Big Beautiful Bill hurts low-income families. The bill is the most pro-family legislation ever crafted. It will deliver bigger paychecks, giving more than $10,000 boosts annually to everyday families. We are also expanding opportunity zones, expanding child care access, including the child tax credit, and creating newborn savings accounts.
Yep. Yeah. And
I heard about the newborn savings accounts. They would
take the day they're
so
born.
much money and put it into an account for them.
Yeah.
To be used later on.
Yeah. And it was a decent amount, I think.
Yes, it was. I forget what the amount was to go in initially.
Yeah, but
that wouldn't be touched.
But the day they're born, they get an account.
Yep.
Yeah. And which is the other reason that they need to stop the what's it called when an illegal crosses the border and then has a kid. Birthright citizenship.
Yes.
They need to stop that because
absolutely
there's no way given like these people walk across the border, drop a kid, and then we got to give this kid an account, a savings account or something.
Not only that, then the parents stay in the United States because that child has become a citizen.
Which I didn't realize this. I heard, looked it up and read a little bit about it. That whole birthright citizenship had to do with slavery. That when a slave had a child, then that child became a U.S. citizen.
Never knew that.
Yeah, it was during slavery. So so if they were coming from
whatever country,
the Caribbean or wherever they were coming from, but then they had a child, the government chose at that point to say that child is now a U.S. citizen. Okay, that wasn't in 2024 or 2022 with 10 million people walking across the border.
Right.
That wasn't meant for that.
And dropping children.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Now they stay.
Right, and if they had nothing, then all of a sudden the cost of hospital delivery room and all that other stuff was being sucked up by
what the
government.
Percentage of illegal immigrants take up the housing, HUD homes.
Yeah.
It's like some ridiculous amount. That's why people can't find housing.
Yeah.
I mean, we know.
Yeah, I know.
We know all about it.
Yeah, we do.
And then you go some of the worst streets in Waterbury, and you're looking at a 2-bedroom apartment. That's $1,800 a month. I wouldn't put my enemy in that house.
I wouldn't put a dog in that house.
Yeah.
Some of the ones we walked into, you have got to be kidding me. And they're talking, anything $1,800 a month for something that's falling apart.
And the pets are already there.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring your own. They're already in
they're already laying there dead. But it's the whole thing is government screwed up. And I think while this bill isn't perfect, it's in the right direction to straighten some of this stuff out. And luckily, late last night, the bill passed the House in terms of now getting to the final vote. Because
someone switched the vote from
3
no to
people.
yes.
When I went to bed last night, there were 4 no votes, which would have made 216 and 216. With 4 no, the four no votes would have made it a tie. But they didn't close the voting. They waited, like everybody does, both sides.
Both sides.
And I got up this morning, and 3 of those 4 people that voted no switched
over.
So now it was 219, 216. I think
So
some,
where's it go
or
next?
or not 219 to 13 or whatever. It is.
Where's it go next?
Now they have debate, and then at the end of the however many hours of debate, then they have another final vote which passes the bill or not.
So it's close.
So yeah, it should happen. It could. It's probably. This is Thursday. This is July 3rd when we're filming this. So this should happen. It should happen today because they want to have President Trump sign. And I swear that this whole thing is to not, because the Democrats know it's going to pass.
Absolutely.
But all they're trying to do is not give Trump that picture of him on July 4th sitting down signing a bill lowering your taxes. Because they know that they'll never win another election.
So if this bill was not to pass, how high would your taxes go up?
Well, individually, 22%.
That's a lot.
And businesses was, I think it was
47.
40 something
I saw
percent.
something about 47%.
So when you add the two together, it's like 68%. Taxes go up 68%. And not, so they were saying lower taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
What's the Social Security?
Social Security, because of a law, they couldn't say no tax at all and give you and just cut the taxes out. So what they did is they're giving you, I think it's $4,000 credit when you do your income tax. So you can write off $4,000 of the tax that you paid on your Social Security.
Social Security. Well, it's better than nothing.
So you'll get a refund.
Yeah, you'll get a refund.
You'll get a refund.
There's a lot of people on Social Security, they don't get no refund.
Right.
They get nothing.
Yeah, you just pay it in and gone.
And it's
right.
gone.
So you'll get a refund, which, I mean, I'd rather have a week to week, but at the end of the year, you do your taxes, and the government, if they're going to send me a check for a couple of grand, you know what, I'll take it.
You might have a credit card that's $2,000 and just pay it off.
Yeah. So that ended up, but there was some law, there was some reason they couldn't do it.
I don't understand how there's tax on Social Security anyhow, because it's tax money.
It is. When you earned it, it was taxed.
So you're taxing money and then taxing it again.
Yeah, and then when you die, they tax
What
that
about
too.
this double taxation? Didn't we go to like a Revolutionary War for this stuff?
Yeah, well, yeah.
What? It was just simple, like tea.
Yeah, but it was...
They taxed tea and people went nuts and they did the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah.
And eventually it went to the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
But you keep pushing these middle class people. I know I'm kind of going off of, but it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
You got to stop pushing these people.
I know. They have to. So there's a lot of good. I think the original bill that came out of the House was really satisfied with it. Went over to the Senate and they changed some stuff. They put back credits for wind and solar that the House had taken out totally. They put some of those credits back. They put some other stuff back. So when it went back to the House, it was about 85% of what they had originally sent over. Government always does that. The government always makes deals.
Yeah.
Hey, we need your vote. What do you want? We'll put that back in the bill. So, but about 85% of the original bill is still there, which I'll take 85%.
Yeah.
You know, that's a B plus.
You should throw the lobbyists right out of going into.
Well, part of it is lobbyists, but part of it is like Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. She was a holdout. And it wouldn't have passed the Senate because she was worried about some small hospitals in Alaska going bankrupt, going under because of funding cuts, Medicaid funding cuts, which, yeah. So, and I think there was 30 million, maybe it was billion, but there was 30 something, might be 30 million, I don't know, in the budget to go to help small hospitals. They bumped it up to 50. That got her vote.
I mean, they all play the games, and I understand that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what she did.
No, because she's fighting for her state.
She's fighting for her state.
Yeah.
I get it. They all do.
Right.
I understand that. But I think just lobbyists have no place in the government.
No, they don't.
Period.
Because these congressmen don't write the bill. When these bills come up, they don't write it. Lobbyists write it.
They don't read it.
Yeah, well, interesting, because there are still senators, Democrat senators, who are complaining about this bill because they're like, well, we didn't get a chance to read it. Those idiots forced the reading of the bill in the Senate. Now 940 pages, every single word. They forced the clerks in the Senate to read every single word out every single page. So if they wanted to hear it, they could have sat there and they could have listened to it. Or they could have went online and read it because it was online.
Right.
But then they're like, well, we don't know what's in it. Well, that's because you're an idiot. And then the biggest farce I saw yesterday, I could not believe it. So they're in the House. The bill went back to the House, and they had one congressman, Democrat congressperson, come up and ask for a point of order, and their point of order was to challenge something, right? Well, the person who was running the House at that time, the chairman or whatever, was like, well, that point of order isn't allowed because of some rule. So at that point, the point of order is stop. That was the first person. 99 other Democrat congressmen lined up the stairs, came and said the exact same thing. So the person that was running the House had to say the same thing. That's out of order. That one's not allowed.
So it was purposely done to
100 people.
To delay it.
Yeah. 100 people came up and wasted everybody's...
And these are the people that think they have your best interest.
They have no, they have their own best interest.
They have their own best
Because
interest.
here's the thing. What they want, and I heard multiple people saying this, they want the bill to fail. They want your taxes to go up. They want the economy to tank so that they can win the midterm elections and get control back.
See, so they're going to hurt you.
They're going to hurt everyone.
To better the Democrat Party.
Yep.
So they could get in and the people...
And then spend more money.
And the people that are listening to this that do vote Democrat, you're an idiot.
Yeah. If you vote Democrat...
Idiot.
You're completely ignorant of the facts. Because if you sit and watch, and okay, I'm lucky because I'm retired, so I can sit for 5-6 hours and watch what goes on in the House of
Representatives. On C-SPAN.
Yeah. And if you watch it,
it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke, and the Democrat Party's a joke because they have no counter offer. They're not like, here's our program. Here's our program to cut.
No, I know what their program is.
Yeah.
Their program is let everybody in so we could get more votes and we could be the dominant party.
That's all they want.
And we could ruin this country.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to do.
Absolutely. Because look what they just did in New York.
I've never seen the Democrat Party so anti-American and so socialist communist.
They're socialist communists, yeah.
Period.
And that's what they just, in the mayoral race in New York, that's who they nominated on the Democratic side, is a socialist, communist, anti-Semitic guy.
And there's a lot of Jewish people in New York. A lot.
Well, if he wins, they won't be there because
they're
all going to move.
They're going to move.
They're all going to move.
They'll shut their business down and go.
This guy wants free buses, free this, free that, free. It's like he wants to control rent and he wants to take over all the grocery stores so that he can set prices. This guy is a communist.
That's what they did in now I knew someone I dated someone that was a kid in Poland when the Soviet Union ran Poland. So they would have these like a book they would get, and it was an allotment for food. So bread, meats. Yep. So they would go and stand in these lines to go get your food, and the guy would come out and shut the doors and go, "Sorry, no more food."
Right. And then
they had to go home without food.
Yeah.
This is under when Poland was under the Soviet Union.
Right.
So that's what he wants in New York?
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
And they voted for him. Democrats voted for him. Except
young Democrats. Younger people.
But not people of color. Because I saw some interviews and they're like, we love Trump. We love what he's... I was surprised to see...
So who the hell voted for this guy?
Liberal, white, young...
Stupid people that are corrupted by the teachers. Yeah. I'm sorry. When you send your kids to school, it's an indoctrination.
Yep.
A lot of these
trying to get that out of there, but
are far left liberal
lunatics.
That's the word.
They are. They are.
And they put this into your children. Sorry, they're not there to teach your kid what's in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, when the Revolutionary War happened. No, they put their own agenda in it.
Yeah.
And our teachers, where we grew up, none of them were like that.
Nope.
None of them.
And if they had those thoughts, we never would have known it.
No, because they kept it to themselves.
Yep. Well,
Because I remember the elections.
Oh yeah.
And we used to write, they would have a piece of paper and they would hand it out to everybody. And I don't know, can't remember who was running way back then. And let's say it was Nixon and whoever he ran against, and you would just circle it. The teacher wouldn't stand in front of the class and say, well, Nixon has better ideas.
Yeah, no.
It was just, who do you like? Put it in a hat, and then he would count them up and go,
Right.
oh, Nixon won, or whoever. He or she, the teachers, never put their thoughts and ideas of how they felt into our heads.
And here's the thing: if they were saying, "Oh well, we don't do that," then why did the Supreme Court just pass or uphold a law that says that teachers are not allowed to force LGBTQ books and stuff on your kids?
That's
so
right.
now you can't do that, which means they were doing it.
Absolutely, they were.
And there's
doing
video, and I got to give some of the middle school and high school kids credit. A lot of them videotape the teachers saying this stuff and putting it on the internet.
I remember kids coming home with flags, LGBTQ, flags.
Right.
I didn't see any of those kids come home with American flags on Flag Day.
Except when I was a kid, we had Flag Day.
Yep.
And we all had flags.
Yep.
And we all got out of school and we went up to a small little green area, and there were all the flags, and there was a marching band there, and they played all like more patriotic songs, and everybody waved their flags. There was patriotism.
Oh, big time. When we were kids. When we were kids, it was big time.
I saw
Big league.
a statistic. Yeah,
Big
I saw a statistic the other day. The Republicans are like 85%, or no, it was in the 90s. It was in the 90% are patriotic still, and the Democrats were down to like somewhere hovering around 30%. They just hate America.
Here's another fact. I know we're kind of off the big beautiful bill.
Well, yeah, but all right.
I just saw a thing that said there's more Democrats in Congress and in our government that support the state of Iran than the people that live in Iran.
Yeah.
The percentage. Well,
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean, though. Yeah, percentage wise or whatever. Sure. Yeah, there was a congressperson, I think, could have been a senator, but that's someone in government. It was a Democrat who tried to introduce a bill to stop the U.S. from aiding Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
No,
Every time it's funny. Every single time there's an issue, Democrats are on the wrong side of it. Every single time.
Yeah.
And they know it. This is what gets me. They know it but they're just ignorant and stupid and like boneheaded, because if they picked a person, and I know there's one guy, he doesn't want it. He's a Democrat, but he's more moderate. And he's on TV a lot. And if you listen to him, he sides with both sides on a lot of things.
Is he from Pennsylvania?
I don't know. Originally from Kentucky, Tennessee, somewhere down that way.
Okay.
But he's a Democrat, and if he was put in like to run for president,
he'd lose.
No, he'd win for the Democrat side.
Really?
Oh yeah. Put it this way: he would win because Democrats would vote for him just because he's a Democrat. But you'd get an awful lot of independents and some Republicans who would say, "Hey, this guy actually is pretty moderate. He probably would win."
See, that's
but
what
a lot of his policies are exactly what Trump's doing.
See,
he wants energy independence. He likes the trade stuff. He doesn't like these riots. He supports the police, and he's Democrat.
He never get the young.
He'll never get it.
Never get the young Democrat vote.
No.
So let's go back to that big beautiful bill. I just found something here. So the myth is there's no fraud in Medicaid. Republicans are just taking coverage away from vulnerable population. It says in the last 10 years, CMS admitted that improper payments of Medicaid have exceeded $500 billion. In just the past year, taxpayers spent $56 billion on benefits for able-bodied adults abusing the system.
Yeah. And you know what? If you point that out to a Democrat, they just deny it.
Of course, but here's the myth and the fact.
Yeah, I know. I get it. So
They just busted a whole bunch of people, got arrested. They were actually trying to leave the country. They caught them at the Mexican border and at airports for fraud.
Yeah.
Fraud in the Medicare system.
Oh yeah. There's tons
Doctors.
of fraud. Oh yeah. Because there's ways. When a doctor, in my case, when I was a therapist, when you bill either insurance company, you bill the government, whatever, right? Medicare, Medicaid. There's codes. You put a code down, and the code says this is what you did.
Mm-hmm.
If a doctor could see you for a hangnail, right, and put in office visit, but then they could use a code that says hand injury or something, and they're going to get more money.
They're going to get more money.
And who's going to check it?
We don't know.
No one's going to check it. You wouldn't know because when they bill it, they just bill it.
They just bill it. You don't know. You just go there, and if you got a copay, you pay. If not,
right, and then you walk out.
You walk out.
But you don't know what they charge. And people who are
incredible.
Well, people who are forthright are going to bill exactly what they just did. But people looking to use the system and gain some money and get some money, they throw an extra code in there. You're going to get paid for it. And because it's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars, it could be another 500 here, another 300 here. Well, you do that to 30 or 40 patients in a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money that office is getting.
A lot of money.
Yeah. So
and they're coming for you.
Oh yeah.
They came for a bunch of them.
So what we hope is that this bill passes today. And then the other thing is Jerome, maybe we can do this another one, but Jerome Powell needs to get kicked out of the Fed.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Because he needs to lower the interest rates.
And he won't.
He won't. And he hates Trump.
Yep. And that's the only reason why, folks, you're paying high interest rate because a man's personal feelings are getting in the way.
Yep.
Of you having lower interest rates.
Because
or you could get cheaper rates.
Because he lowered them. And you can look back, he lowered them multiple times when Biden was in office.
There you go.
And the economy sucked back then.
Mm-hmm.
The economy's roaring
and
now.
Won't do nothing.
Yeah, the economy's now, he's like, well, we need to wait. Now he's talking about, well, maybe we'll wait till the fall. He's an idiot.
We know
Anyways, all right.
Alrighty.
So that was our bit on
Big Beautiful Bill.
Big Beautiful Bill Medicaid section.
Yep.
And fraud and abuse
and a couple of
things, yeah. So thank you for the views, and we're inching up in terms of subscribers.
We got another one.
Yeah,
Don't know who you are. We appreciate it.
Like 39 last time I looked. So
we're edging close.
We're getting close to 40. So tell your friends.
And there's a guy that shoots off fireworks, has 990 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And watching him shoot off fireworks, I watch him, is really cool.
Yeah.
But if you sit here, you might learn something.
Yeah, but if you need us to sit here with sparklers.
Yeah, we're willing to do that.
I'll hold a sparkler in my hand.
I'll put a freaking hat on that says Happy New Year. Whatever you need to do. Just make comments and watch our videos,
yeah.
goddammit.
All right. Do your subscribe thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We really appreciate you people watching it.
And a couple of things. One is, like we always say, you have a voice. Don't let anyone silence it.
Yep.
We're going to be switching studios.
Yeah, our backdrop might be
will be a little different in August. So we're going to try and film a couple of things ahead of time because we still want to try and get one out a week. If we miss a week, it's because we're moving. So don't abandon us. If they're like, they stopped putting up.
All 38 or 39 of you.
Yeah, don't abandon us because we're moving studios. And what else was I going to say? I know there was two things I wanted to say. I can't remember.
Democrat.
Well, Democrats suck, no. What?
The dumb Democrat of the week.
Oh, the dumb Democrat of the week. We didn't do it in the last three.
Couple of videos.
I think our last three videos we didn't put it because honestly there were too many choices.
Yeah, we couldn't pick.
I couldn't pick one, but I'm going to pick Chuck Schumer this week.
Oh, crying Chuck Schumer.
And here's why. At the end of the whole bit with the One Big Beautiful Bill in the Senate, he came up with a last minute thing.
Okay.
Some procedure that allowed him to get a vote and change the name of the One Big Beautiful Bill. It's now just called the Act.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
He wasted time.
Oh my God.
To change the name of it just because Trump named it.
We're all still going to call it the Big Beautiful
Everyone
Bill.
calls it the Big Beautiful Bill.
We're not going to call it the Act.
No, but he's an act.
No, he's an ass.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and he
Crying
doesn't
Chuck
retire.
Schumer.
But yeah, no, he came up with this weird procedural thing that changed the name because he just didn't want Trump to have it. This is what we're saying. This is all about
They're
hate
children,
Trump.
folks. They're children.
Yeah, they are. They're immature. As I said before, I think they're hovering around the 69, 70 IQ level.
Yeah, we know about that 69, 70 mark.
Yeah.
My pick, well, it's not really, she's done, and we all know that, and I picked her before.
Oh,
it's
AOC?
about her sister.
Oh,
You don't know nothing about what's going on with her sister?
which one?
AOC's sister.
AOC's
She's going to be arrested. They're looking at charges for her, for, I forget what the hell it was about. And you should look that up, AOC's sister, and she's under the spotlight, I believe, of the FBI or Justice Department.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got some troubles, folks.
Oh.
And it's not because she doesn't know how to mix drinks.
Well,
Like her sister.
I can add one thing to that. AOC keeps calling herself a girl from the Bronx.
She's not.
Right.
She is from Yorktown Heights.
Which has like $1 million homes. She went to private schools. Yeah, when she was born, they lived in the Bronx. And when she was, I think up until she was 5 years old. Then they moved to Yorktown Heights. And she was there all the way through high school.
College.
And probably into college. She went to college at Boston University, which is freaking expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah. So when she's like, "Oh, what you do?" and she uses this fake accent that drives me crazy.
She's full of it.
She is from upper class.
Yeah. Look up Yorktown Heights.
Yeah.
Yorktown, and then there's Yorktown Heights.
There's a video out on YouTube of a guy who drives around Yorktown with the houses and everything else. And there's people who have her in their yearbook. And she was called Sandy back then.
Yep.
Look it up, because she's full of shit too.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, folks, for watching our video. We really appreciate it. Yep. And we will see you on the next one.
Yes, we will.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.